right? Some of the simple stuff, if you don't physically go there and experience some of the problems, you won't understand what it actually is. And the solutions you'll have are the solutions based on your context and not theirs. And I found that to be like some really, really big shift in my thinking, that whenever I'm doing a project, I first have to have the intention that I'm there to empower and not save. And two, I need to make sure that on my team, there are local people who can tell me exactly what's going on. And three, I've got to spend time within the vicinity of the problem I'm trying to solve. Like those three things for me have really helped me come to sustainable solutions. So now the Patriotic Advocacy Network, they have a system which is working. They have like 500 young people on their books, stretched across schools all the way around Sierra Leone, and they're doing their own projects now. They're raising their own money. They are, they have a system where, once you start in a school, you get recruited into a chapter of their organization, and then you become a leader of that chapter, and then you end up in the top levels, and then at that point you can start your own projects, et cetera, et cetera. It's a system that works, and I would only been able to do that if I had taken a step back and really understood them.
Do you also get some proposals from them? Okay, I know that you are not a Western NGO. You are not speaking from the Western perspective, even though you may have a lot of influence in the West. You are an
Mm,
African. You grew up from there. You have the feeling that these people, your friend, your brothers, your sister need your help. That is
mm,
why you are there.
yeah.
So the perspective is always going to be different. But my curiosity is, do you also get proposals from them? Do you get also a kind of alternative proposal compared to maybe what you bring to them? Which are some of these proposals?
As in proposals from them.
Yeah, maybe, okay, say maybe for example, you get to a Freetown or some part in Sierra Leone, you have this particular project you want to do with them. Is it something that they accept from you, or did they tell you they have another way of looking at it so that you have to go
Yeah, I
home
mean
and
that's
redesign
something
it?
that we've
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
work with them with as well, because at first the idea was very, we just with I'm thinking about this particular project. The idea was very foreign to put together a pack, a proposal for what they wanted to do. So we had to, that was part of the teaching, and it wasn't teaching as in, you need to do this, give them a template and all that kind of stuff. But, how would you communicate this idea to this kind of person? What is the impact you want to have? What would that cost? All the things that you would want to cover in a proposal, but we just asked them as questions, and they found their own ways to develop their own way to communicate a proposal to us. And it's the same that applies with everything else. I've had to really step back from thinking like a British person in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, for example, the way I would do a proposal might be different to the way they will do one. What they would include might be different. And sometimes I need to actually just sit there and say, okay, what are they trying to say? Because I can look at something and see a gem in something that they don't see, but vice versa. I can also see something that doesn't actually exist or wouldn't work. And so there's been a few times where I would suggest something and they say no. And I'm really glad that we have a relationship where they can do that, because otherwise we would be putting something and just becoming another waste of time and space.
I don't know if you want to say something more into the how you operate with them in that. Okay, now you get this project you want to execute there. How do you go about doing it? You find the people first. You go there first to talk with the people. They share the project with them. Can you tell me more about how you operate with them, in the sense of from the time you get the idea to how it get executed?
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so I'm going to try and think of an example. So the way it works at the moment is we have board meetings, right? So there's me, there's Yusufu, and the head of Pan, and we would strategize based on what kind of projects we want to do through the year, what is the impact? Some of them will be good, some of them will be not so good. The ones that are good, we can decide if we're going to go ahead with it or not. The ones which aren't any good, we can decide if it needs to be adjusted or if it just doesn't need to happen right now. For the ones that do go, we're lucky that we have enough of a team to actually implement. So I'm here, right? I'm in the UK and they're in Sierra Leone. And so we would literally get on Zoom pretty much every week when there's something that's come in, sometimes every day. And we'll just go through the problems one by one. So one of the things that I have had to push for, however, is turnaround. So there was an element where, things happen when they happen. And for me, it's like, if that was to be the case, we would never meet our targets that we all agree. And so a lot of the time it was really just chasing people, to be honest with you. We delegate, we break down a project into who's doing what. Again, their organization had 500 people. So we could literally say, okay, this chapter is going to be focusing on this. These people are going to be doing the marketing. These people are going to be doing the sales. These people are going to be finding the venue, etc. And every day, sometimes, mostly every week, we would get back on a call and we see what is happening. I would be asking for photographs. I'll be asking for reports and to be copied into emails. I would be, if there's any kind of block, I might step in, but I try not to do that, especially after about year 3 or 4. So, for example, there might be someone they're trying to build a relationship with who is just not answering them or getting back to them. And unfortunately, if I, as a British person, was to do exactly the same thing, the doors might swing open. So sometimes I've had to step in and either moderate or just be in a room to make sure that they're being taken seriously as well as me. That's something that I hadn't necessarily planned for, but actually took a lot of time. It's not just teaching them or working with them, but also working with who they work with. That has been like a really that was probably the most challenging, I'd say.